Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now listen to me carefully, because this one is going to hurt. This one is going to make your blood boil, and by the end of it, I promise you, justice will be served. But before we dive in, if you're new here, do me a favor. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from. I want to see just how far this story travels. Are you in Nigeria, Philippines, India, Indonesia? Let me know. Now, let's get into it. Imagine this. You're a man who gave everything. Your sweat, your tears, your last breath, every single coin you ever earned, you handed it to one woman, your wife. You loved her like she was the air in your lungs. You starved so she could eat. You walked so she could ride. You wore rags so she could wear gold. And what did she do? What did this woman do with all your sacrifice? She laughed at you. She took your money and spent it on designer bags while you couldn't even afford lunch. She talked to other men behind your back while you worked double shifts just to keep the lights on. She looked you dead in the eyes and said, "You're pathetic. You can't even afford to be my husband." Can you feel that? Can you feel that knife twisting in your chest? Because he felt it every single day, every single night. He lay on that cold floor of their tiny apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering where it all went wrong. His bank account was empty, his dignity was gone, his heart was shattered into a million pieces. And then she did the worst thing. She filed for divorce. But not just any divorce. Oh no, she wanted everything. The house, the savings, the car, every last thing he worked for. She sat across from him at that table with a smirk on her face and said, "Sign it. You have nothing left to offer me anyway." And he signed it because he was broken. He was a shell of a man. He had nothing left. No money, no wife, no pride. His parents were sick and struggling, and he couldn't even help them because she had drained him dry. He sat alone on the floor of an empty apartment, and the tears fell like rain. He whispered to himself, barely a breath, if only I could do it all over again. If God would give me one more chance, just one, I would do everything differently. I would never let her destroy me again. And that's when everything changed. Because at that exact moment, the air shifted, the room went cold, a strange light filled the darkness, and right there in the middle of that empty room, a clock appeared. Not a normal clock, an ancient, glowing, impossible clock, and its hands were moving backwards. He stared at it, his eyes wide, his heart pounding. The room began to spin, the walls melted, time itself began to crack. Everything he had ever lived through started flashing before his eyes, in reverse. The divorce, the fights, the wedding, the college days, faster and faster and faster, until silence. He opened his eyes, and he was lying in a bed, a small, familiar bed. He looked around, posters on the wall, old textbooks on the desk, a flip phone on the nightstand. He grabbed it with trembling hands. The date on the screen read, 10 years ago. He ran to the mirror, and staring back at him was his younger self, 19 years old, fresh-faced, before the pain, before the betrayal, before she ruined him. His legs gave out. He fell to his knees, but this time the tears that fell were not
tears of sorrow. They were tears of fire, because in that moment he understood. He had been given the one thing every broken man begs for, a second chance. And this time there would be no begging, no crawling, no giving his heart to a woman who would stomp on it. This time, he would be the one in control. This time, she would be the one who suffers. He looked at himself in that mirror and said 4 words that changed everything. She will lose everything.
And just like that, he was a different man. Same body, same face, but inside was a warrior who had already survived the war. He knew every trap, every lie, every manipulation that was coming, because he had already lived through it. The very next day, his phone rang, and guess who it was? Her, his future ex-wife. In this timeline, she was still his girlfriend. Sweet voice, flirty words. Baby, I need some money for shopping. You love me, right? In his old life, he would have emptied his pockets. He would have skipped meals. He would have begged someone for a loan just to make her smile. But not this time. This time he felt nothing but cold clarity. No. One word. That's all he said, and the silence on the other end, it was deafening. She couldn't believe it. She stuttered, she tried to guilt him, she tried to cry, and he listened to every fake sob and felt nothing. Then he said it, calm, steady, final. We're done. I know exactly who you are, and I will never let you near my life again. She laughed. She actually laughed. You'll come crawling back, she said. You always do. He hung up the phone, and he smiled, because she had no idea. She had absolutely no idea what was coming. But here's the part that breaks my heart. The first thing he did after that call wasn't about money. It wasn't about revenge. It was about his parents. In his old life, he had neglected them. He was so busy chasing that toxic woman that he forgot the 2 people who actually loved him. His mother worked herself to the bone, his father's health deteriorated, and he wasn't there for them. Not this time. He went home, and when his mother opened the door, he grabbed her and held her so tight that she didn't know what was happening. She said, "Son, what's wrong?" And he could barely speak through the tears. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry, but I promise you, I'm going to take care of you, both of you. I swear on my life, things are going to be different now." That night, he sat at his desk and opened a notebook, and he started writing. Stock prices he remembered, business trends he knew would explode, companies that would rise, companies that would fall, events that hadn't happened yet, but would. He had a decade of future knowledge locked in his brain, and he was going to use every single piece of it. And the wins came fast. At university, he went from an average student to the #1 ranked student in the entire school. Professors were confused. Classmates were stunned. Was this the same quiet, broke kid who used to sit in the back of the class? Now he was answering questions that teachers couldn't solve. But that was just the warm-up. He took his tiny savings, money he used to waste on that greedy woman, and invested it. He bought stocks he knew would skyrocket, and within weeks his account started growing. Then it exploded. He doubled his money, then tripled it, then multiplied it 10 times over. The first thing he did, he moved his parents out of that cramped, falling-apart apartment. He found them a beautiful new place, clean, warm, safe. When his mother walked through the door, she broke down crying. His father put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Son, how?" And he just smiled and said, "I told you, things are different now." Meanwhile,
Word started spreading around campus. People who never even looked at him before were suddenly paying attention. Have you heard about him? He's a genius. He's making money. He's changed. And guess whose ears that reached? Her, the ex, the greedy one. She started texting him again. Hey, I've been thinking about us. I miss you. Maybe I was too harsh. He looked at those messages and he didn't feel anger anymore. He felt pity. Because she wasn't texting because she missed him. She was texting because she smelled money. Same pattern, same greed, same disgusting manipulation. He didn't reply, not a single word. He just deleted her messages and kept building.
And then she walked into his life, the woman he should have met the first time around, the one fate kept hidden from him because he was too blind chasing the wrong person. He met her in a bookstore. She was struggling to carry a tall stack of books, and they tumbled right at his feet. He knelt down and helped her pick them up. Their eyes met, and something in his chest shifted. Not lust, not obsession, just warmth, pure, honest warmth. She was beautiful, but she didn't flaunt it. She was brilliant, but she was humble. And the thing that hit him the hardest, she never asked him for a single thing, not money, not gifts, not status. She liked him, the person, the mind, the heart. He learned that she was struggling. She could barely afford her tuition. Her mother was sick. She was working 2 jobs and still studying, and not once did she complain. Not once did she play the victim. So he helped her, quietly, anonymously. He paid her tuition without her knowing. He arranged for her mother to see a better doctor. And when she eventually found out it was him, she didn't jump into his arms with gratitude. No, she confronted him with tears in her eyes and pride in her voice. Why would you do this? I never asked for help. I don't want charity. And he looked at her and said something so simple it shattered every wall she had built. Because you deserve it, and because for the first time in my life, I found someone worth giving to. That is the difference. The greedy ex took everything and gave nothing. This woman gave everything and asked for nothing. And he knew, in that moment he knew, this was the woman he was meant to love. But, of course, the vultures don't stay quiet for long. The ex saw them together at a campus event, him in a sharp suit, confident, powerful, and on his arm a woman more beautiful, more elegant, and more real than she could ever pretend to be. Her face dropped, her blood ran cold. This was the man she threw away? This was the man she called pathetic? She marched over to him, put on her sweetest voice. Baby, I think we made a mistake. Can we talk, please? He looked at her the way you look at a stranger and said, I don't know you. 3 words, and they destroyed her, but she didn't give up. Oh no, a woman like that never gives up when she smells power. She started scheming. She spread rumors about the new girl. She told people she was a gold digger, a fraud, a nobody. She tried to turn his friends against him. She cornered the new girl and hissed, he was mine first. And you know what the new girl said? Calm as a summer breeze, no anger, no fear. She looked her dead in the eye and said, then why did you throw him away? Silence, complete and utter silence, because there was no answer, there was no defense. The greedy ex had played herself, and the whole world was starting to see it. He shut it down publicly, in front of everyone. You chose someone else. I chose better, and there is nothing you can do about it. And from there, he didn't just rise, he launched. He used his future knowledge to start a tech company. While other students were partying, he was building. While his classmates were sleeping, he was strategizing. and within months his company was generating revenue that people twice his age couldn't dream of. The media caught on, headlines started running, young genius CEO disrupts the market. Investors came knocking, partnerships formed, his net worth climbed from thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions. He bought his parents a mansion, he funded scholarships, he built something that would last. And through all of it, the new girl was right there beside him, not for the money, not for the fame. She was there because she believed in him when he was nobody. And that is a bond that no amount of greed can ever break.
Now here's the part you've been waiting for. Because remember the ex's new man, the lover she left our guy for? He went broke, bankrupt, disappeared, left her with nothing. The very lifestyle she sold her soul for? Gone, vanished, dust. She came crawling to his company, showed up at the front door, begging, crying, "I was wrong. Please, I have nothing. Take me back." Security stopped her. She caused a scene. People filmed it. It went viral. And he came down, personally. The entire office watched. Cameras were recording. The world was listening. He looked at her, the woman who broke him, the woman who stole his money, crushed his spirit, and left him to die alone. And he spoke, calm, controlled, devastating. "You chose money over love. You chose greed over loyalty. I gave you everything I had, and you destroyed me. But I came back, and I built something you could never touch. I found a woman who loved me when I had nothing. You only loved what I could give you. And now you don't exist in my world anymore. Leave and don't ever come back." She collapsed. She broke right there on that floor. But nobody felt sorry for her, because you reap what you sow every single time. That evening, he took the new girl to a rooftop overlooking the city. The lights below sparkled like stars. He held her hands, and for the first time his voice trembled, not with pain, not with anger, with love. "I feel like I was given a second chance at life, and I don't want to spend a single moment of it without you. You saw me when I was invisible. You believed in me when the world didn't. You are my home." He got down on one knee. She covered her mouth. Tears streamed down her face, and she whispered, "You had me from the moment you picked up my books." She said yes, and in that moment, every scar, every wound, every night he spent crying on that cold floor in his past life, it was all worth it, because it led him here, to her. The wedding was everything he never had the first time. His parents were there, healthy, proud, overjoyed. His friends were there. His empire was thriving. And the woman beside him, she wasn't there for his wallet. She was there for his heart. And somewhere across town, the ex sat alone in a dark room. She saw the wedding photos on social media. She stared at them for a long time. Then she closed her phone and she sat in silence because she finally understood. She didn't lose him because of bad luck. She lost him because she never deserved him in the first place. He was given a second chance, a chance that most people only dream about, and he did not waste it. He built an empire from nothing. He healed the family he once neglected. He found a love so real, so pure, that it made every moment of suffering worth it. The clock reversed, and so did his entire destiny. From broken to powerful, from betrayed to beloved, from nothing to everything. So, let me ask you this. If you could reverse the clock, if you could go back to any moment in your life and start over, what would you change? Think about it. Really think about it. And drop your answer in the comments below. I want to hear your story. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, then smash that like button. It's free, and it helps more than you know. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss a story like this, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's going through pain right now. Someone who needs to know that second chances are possible. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay strong, and remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story.